আসসালামু আলাইকুম ওয়া রাহমাতুল্লাহ। হ্যালো ভিউয়ার্স, কেমন আছেন সবাই? প্রিমিটিভ ফিশিং বাই আকিব ইউটিউব চ্যানেলে আপনাদের সবাইকে স্বাগতম। আজকে আমরা বিশেষ একটা লাইভের আয়োজন করেছি। বিশেষ এই কারণ আমাদের সাথে দেশের বাহিরের বরেণ্য একজন শৌখিন মৎস্য শিকারী বলতে পারেন, অ্যাংলার বলতে পারেন, উনি থাকছেন আমাদের সাথে। তার নাম হচ্ছে ডেরেক Dsouza। উনি হচ্ছেন পেলাজিক ট্রাইবের ওনার। এছাড়া IGFA বা ইন্টারন্যাশনাল গেম ফিশ অ্যাসোসিয়েশনের ইন্ডিয়ার রিপ্রেজেন্টেটিভ। এছাড়া AIGFA অল ইন্ডিয়া গেম ফিশ অ্যাসোসিয়েশন, উনি এটার সাথে সরাসরি সম্পৃক্ত। তাছাড়া আরো বেশ কিছু আছে। অনেক কিছু নিয়ে আলোচনা হবে। কথা বলতে বলতে হয়তো উনি চলে আসবেন। এই যে ডেরেক চলে এসেছে। হ্যালো ডেরেক।
Yeah, hi. How are you, Habib? How are you
I'm
doing?
still alive. I'm still alive. I'm very alive. I was really waiting for you the whole day. There's a competition going on. They call it a competition in Bangladesh. You know, the pay ponds?
Yeah.
Yeah. I have a few ponds, and there's those, you pay for it, and in West Bengal, they call it ticket, paspukur.
Yeah, passport. Yeah, passports. Yeah.
Passport, right? So that game is going on, and as usual, the most wanted and valued game fish in Bangladesh is katla. You know that.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. Oh, the other thing, Derek, I got a few mahasir this morning. It's in my aquarium right now. The
Oh,
juvenile one.
nice.
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
where was that?
It was something special. Someone special arranged it for me, and I got like around 300 pieces, 300
Okay.
units. And yeah, the very interesting thing is they eat a lot.
Yes.
They do eat a lot, and it's
Yes,
like I
yes.
think their feeding habit is pretty much like every hour they would start eating, and like in 20 minutes they would cycle it out. Very interesting.
Oh, okay. Which species is this? Did you get?
It's a golden one. It's a golden one.
Golden master. Okay.
Yeah.
Ah, okay. So this is from a hatchery or is it from the wild?
No. It's not from the hatchery. It's from the river.
Okay. Yeah, interesting to see that.
Yeah, I'm also
Yes, I
planning
mean,
to arrange a few more and release it in the Bangladesh rivers. Maybe a couple of thousands of those. If I can arrange it, I'll like release it in the rivers. But we have massive problems regarding the nets, the netting. We call it the
yes.
China net, the really really small holes, and they pretty much take everything.
Yes.
Crabs and crustaceans, everything.
Is it in a conical shape? The nets,
Yes,
which
that one.
yeah. It's like the porcine nets actually, which is used even in the sea, and it collects everything. Even the smallest species into it, and they get massacred. Yeah, so the whole thing goes for a toss. Question for you, Abid, is like the rivers which you're planning to release these fish. Did they have golden mahseer in them, or?
No. We used to have golden Mahasis. That was around 1980s. 1980s,
Okay.
we used to have a few. We used to have a lot, to be honest. And then slowly what happened was they started realizing that it is quite priced. It is nowadays, it is sold in like 6,000 taka a kilo, maybe five or
Okay.
six. Average 10, I would say. They catch average 10 fishes a year. And that would technically come from the northern part. So it's from the India and Bangladesh border. So from Tripura and those sides, the fish would actually come with the stream, and then they would get netted. And then they would go to the market, and people would stand in a line and take their prized fish.
Oh, okay.
Put it on the table,
What is 6,000 taka?
Yes.
Roughly, what is it? Translate to in dollars or something?
Roughly, it is more like 4,500 INR.
Oh, per kilo.
Yes.
That's a lot.
Costlier than rainbow trout. Even costlier than rainbow trout.
Wow, that's expensive. Yeah. But one thing is, you need to ensure that if the river did not have golden mahseer, then releasing that would be futile. Is actually, it could turn invasive and take out your normal, species, native species. And if it did have earlier, and if we are not figured out what the issue was, that the decline of the golden marset has gone down, then you might just be pouring water. No, it's like you put in 1,000 and all
I
the
know.
1,000 get destroyed. Yeah.
True. It is true. It is like that. But just like you, for me, it is
Mm.
worth giving a shot. I know nothing's gonna
Oh,
happen. It's not magic. It's not gonna
mm.
work. But it's hope. It's
Yeah.
hope. What
Yeah.
if one
But
fish survives? What if one fish survives?
yeah, but even if the one fish survives, it's not going to breed, right?
Breathe.
It's not going
Right.
to, yeah. So it's going to be one fish that survives, and most likely, if you say that there's a lot of, unethical fishing that's happening,
Correct.
or destructive fishing that's happening,
Yes.
more
Yes.
likely it's going to get destroyed. Also, it is basically, especially if you put hatchery bred fish or things so that they don't know how to survive in the
Right.
wild, and
Right.
most of the times it just gets destroyed. The
Right.
fish gets caught, they're all schooling together, and
Mhm.
just one cast net will take everything out. We've
Yes.
seen that
Yes.
happening
Yes.
as well. Yeah, we've
Yes.
seen that happen. Great.
Well,
Anyway, I mean, it's good, to know that there's something happening there. But I think what needs to be done is to see if you can work with the authorities and remove some of the destructive practices, which will actually go a long way if you can. I mean, I don't know whether there is dynamiting and also, electric fishing happening in
yes.
Bangladesh.
Dynamiting, I would say that's a no, because
No.
that's a different thing. Normally, the rules are quite strict, so there's no dynamic
Mm,
fishing. But the other things, like the
mm,
DC inverter electricity, they fish
mm.
using that, and it's quite cheap. It's less than 5,000, which means 3,000 rupees
Mhm,
equivalent to Bangladesh, and that's all you need. And you buy a used battery worth like 1,000 taka, uh, and you go out and get heaps of fish. That's what people are doing.
mhm, mhm,
And I
mhm,
think
mhm,
it's not the destructive fishing method. It's no offense, but there are certain videos on different social medias that actually encourage people to do it. Maybe
mm,
I'm going out fishing and I'm wasting a whole day and not getting a bite on a hook. I'm coming back
mhm,
home and my family members, they're scolding me, they're yelling at me that you wasted the whole day, you wasted money, you got no fish. And then I would actually decide that that is the only best way I have to get some fish. So I would buy a device like that, go out fishing, and there's heaps of fish. It doesn't matter if it's a tiny one or it's a large one. I just get fish. I come back home and my family is happy. Yeah, you got some fish.
oh,
I think that's the main thing which actually influences people to do that kind of
mhm.
stuff. And
Okay.
we actually have personally complained to different government authorities, but
Mhm.
it's not working out. They
Okay.
have other things to work with, right? They have
Yeah.
massive other issues. They can't just go around in the field and search people's bag and then say, "Oh no, you can't use it or you can't use that." It's not
Mhm,
possible.
mhm, mhm.
That's the
No,
main
then
thing.
the education is the key, actually, is like, sharing knowledge about the destructive practices where the problem is not today, the problem is tomorrow, where
True.
while you said even the small fish are destroyed, and those are the fish that's supposed to grow, breed, and,
Yeah.
basically spawn and give you more fish. But if you're taking them away, then there's nothing that is being introduced into the river, and that's what's going to happen after a few years. There's nothing going to be there in
Yeah,
the river.
yeah. Nowadays, it is mostly like that. There are small fish we have, putimas. So
Yeah.
it's more like a smaller breed of putitora. Okay, and they
Okay.
go up to an inch or 2 inches. And
Mm,
these used to be like heaps in the water.
mm.
Nowadays, if you go to the market, it's 600 taka a kilo.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
That's around
Yeah,
400 rupees a kilo. So that means even their numbers are declining as well.
yeah. I think the putti mask what you're referring to is called the rosy barb, which has got a
Mhm.
spot,
Yes, yes, yes.
just yeah, near the tail. Yeah, yeah. So that is actually one of the key. What do you say? Feed for the larger fish, actually,
Yes, yes.
and if
Like
that gets
Arthur and other
destroyed,
fish. Yes.
yeah. So that becomes definitely a problem. on that front. But Bangladesh is also very famous for Ilish mas, right? Like it's the most famous.
That number is declining as well because we
Okay.
call it current jal. So it's more like the translation would be electric net. Doesn't have electricity,
Okay.
but it has the smaller holes. You know, they make those really small gate those nets from China. They bring in actually they bring the line and they weave it themselves back in Bangladesh with really small holes. And it's the same story. The fish would actually they spawn and then it's around a matter of 45 days. The fish would come from salt water, the sea. They come into our rivers, they spawn, and then they go back. So those 45 days, people actually, it's a massacre, I would say. That is the only 45 days people will go out for fishing, you know, with those nets and everything. And those juvenile ones, they will just bring in because you have the small ones, you can deep fry it and it tastes really good.
Okay.
And year after year, that's been happening. And at the end of the day, like when I was born, when I was young, like the age of 5 or 10, I would see the average size of an hilsa or an Ilish march would be 3 to 4 kilos back in those days. Now, 2.5 kilos would be like a rare catch. Like maybe out of each 5 tons, you would get 5 fish of that size. Other ones would be 400 grams, like 800 grams, stuff like that. And that's been happening.
Wow.
The government is trying really hard to put the ban on those 45 days. And they actually, we have those river police, we call it naval police, no police, we call it. They do patrols and stuff. But, you know, there's millions of people out there and there's maybe 50 people on patrol. What can they do?
Yeah, that's going to be very difficult. And I think Hilsa is going to be more pricey. It's already very pricey, I think. Yeah.
It is like that. So yes,
Yeah,
as we're
that's
talking
interesting.
about fishing, there's something called ethical game fishing. You and me, we know about it pretty well. But there's other viewers here who are watching this live. I'll translate it in Bangla. তো আমরা এতক্ষণ ধরে কথা বলছিলাম এখানে, সেটা হচ্ছে যে বাংলাদেশে এই যে কারেন্ট জালের ব্যবহারটা সেটা নিয়ে আমরা কথা বলছিলাম। এছাড়া মাছ শেষ হয়ে যাচ্ছে, মাছ ধ্বংস হয়ে যাচ্ছে, সেটা নিয়ে বাংলাদেশের বাইরে কিন্তু আমরা এখন কথা বলা শুরু করেছি। অনেক কিছু নিয়ে আজকে আমরা কথা বলবো। আপনারা জানতে পারবেন যেহেতু ডেরেক হচ্ছে গেম ফিশ কনজারভেশন নিয়ে কাজ করে, ডেরেক অনেক কিছু নিয়ে কাজ করে, মানুষকে শেখায়। ইথিক্যাল গেম ফিশিং নিয়েও এখন কথা হবে। আমরা কিন্তু বাইরে কথা বলছি এবং আজকের এই ভিডিও থেকে শুরু হলো আমরা কিন্তু দেশের বাইরে বাংলাদেশের মৎস্য শিকার জগৎ নিয়ে কিন্তু সব রকম কথাই বলবো এবং ডেরেক কিন্তু আইজিএফ এর একজন প্রতিনিধি। কাজে কথাগুলো কিন্তু দেশের বাইরে যাচ্ছে, আপনারা এটা খেয়াল রাখবেন এবং বোঝার চেষ্টা করবেন আমরা কি করছি, কি করতে যাচ্ছে এবং আপনাদের যা জানার দরকার সেটা বলবো। লাইভে আপনারা অনেকে কমেন্ট করছেন, আমি আজকে কোনো কমেন্ট করবো না, বিকজ আমরা বিশেষ কিছু নিয়ে আজকে কথা বলছি এবং এখন আমরা এই ইথিক্যাল গেম ফিশিং যেটা আছে সেটা নিয়ে এখন আমরা জানবো। আপনারা অনেকেই জানেন না, সেটা এখন জানার চেষ্টা করবো। সো Derek, in layman's word, what would be ethical game fishing?
So ethical game fishing, there can be many interpretations on that. Is primarily like as an angler, you go in to try and catch a fish. And if you're a sports catch and release angler, you would definitely release the fish back. The ethical angler is aware about the nature, aware about what's going on in the river, and will ensure that he or she does not take anything that is not required. Yeah, for example, if you're going for a particular fish, let's say a maser, and maser is a protected species. If it's a protected species, then you release 100% of all the fish back into the river. Now, if you're going for a snakehead, okay, which is not a protected species, but as an ethical angler, what you would do is you would not take a small fish because it needs to grow. So you would release a fish which is particularly small, like if it's like, half a kilo or 1 kilo and things to that. And then you wouldn't take a big fish also. That is, if anything is about 3 kilo or 4 kilo, because that is the breeding pair. And you would want to allow the fish to breed and give, populate the entire river or the lake or the pond or wherever the fish is. So you try and take something in between. And that also, you wouldn't take 10 or 15 what you catch, you would probably take what is required for your one meal, or for your family, maybe one or maximum two fish, and that would suffice on that front. The rest of the fish you would release. The second thing you would also do as an ethical angler is you wouldn't fish during the breeding season, like especially if I go again back to snakeheads, just monsoon and post monsoon, you will see the parents protecting the fry. Both the male and the female are protecting the snakehead fry, and they're going around in circles. They are actually very vulnerable during that time, and it's much easier to catch them when you try and irritate them. And you can catch, the first the male would hit, and then the next the female would hit on that. What would happen is all the thousands of the fingerlings which are there, as soon as the parents are gone, they have no protection. And the entire thing gets devoured by other predators nearby, or they wouldn't be able to cope up with themselves and die. So this is something which is very important for an ethical angler to ensure that first they do not take what is not required. It doesn't mean you catch 100 fish, you take 100 fish and go back home. You do not take fish to distribute or sell. It's not, you're not fish. If you're an ethical angler, you're not fishing there to make money. You're fishing there because it's your passion, it's a sport, it's you want to have a good time, you want to have, you pose that as a challenge for yourself, and you're trying to catch a fish, outsmarting them, using a lure or a bait. And if you're doing that, then you would release maximum what is back and take only what is necessary for you, and not to make sure that the freezer is always full with fish. So that's one of the things. And knowing your limits, like, in different species, you need to understand the breeding sizes and ensure that the breeding sizes are released back, and take only that is out of the breeding season, and not during the breeding season. So that way you are ensuring that you have enough fish to populate the river, and ensure you have fish for generations to come by. Also, not encourage other unethical practices, like which we already spoke about, nets, or nets in particular. What you're talking about is the mahajal kind of stuff, or whatever you call that, electric net, or dynamiting, or not encouraging that, or not reverting back, like you said, because your parents are not happy that you didn't get fish. So don't throw a stick of dynamite or put an electric wire into the water to try and get fish to please them, because you're not there to please anyone. You're there to satisfy yourself, and that would be what is ethical. And as an angler, one of the things you do is you spend a lot of time in front of the river. You understand, what it is, you understand the water body, you see minute changes and major changes that are happening. If these can be documented and reported, that will actually be helpful in terms of conservation. So this is what it leads to. So as an ethical angler, you would try and record all these activities.
So I will translate it into Bengali. আমাদের প্রশ্ন ছিল যে এথিক্যাল গেম ফিশিংটা কি? এথিক্যাল গেম ফিশিং হচ্ছে, ইথিক্স শব্দটার অর্থ কি? ইথিক্স শব্দটা হচ্ছে নীতি, নৈতিকতা, নীতিগতভাবে মাছ ধরা। আপনি চাইলেই অনেকগুলা মাছ আপনি জাল দিয়ে ধরে নিয়ে আসছেন, আপনার যেটা প্রয়োজন নাই সেই মাছটা আপনি উঠাই নিয়ে এসে বাসায় ফ্রিজে রাখছেন, এটা ঠিক না। আপনাকে গেলেই যা মাছ পাবেন, ছোট মাছ থেকে শুরু, এই ছোট থেকে শুরু করে বড় মাছ, সব মাছই আপনার উঠায় নিয়ে আসতে হবে। না ভাই, এটা নিয়ম না। এটা দিন শেষে আমাদের মাছের যে নাম্বারটা আছে, সেই নাম্বারটা ডিক্লাইন করছে, নাম্বারটা কমে আসতেছে। এটা করা যাবে না। গোটা পৃথিবীতে সাইজ আছে, ইন্ডিভিজুয়াল স্পিসিস, ইন্ডিভিজুয়াল জাতের মাছের সাইজ আছে। কোনটা 5 ইঞ্চ, 5 ইঞ্চের উপরে আপনি ধরতে পারবেন, নিচে ধরতে পারবেন না। কোনটা 9 ইঞ্চেস আছে, নিচে ধরতে পারবেন না। যেমন ডেরেক, আমার বন্ধু ডেরেক এখানে বলছিল যে এখানে আমরা মহাশোলের কথা বললাম, স্নেকহেডের কথা বলা আছে। স্নেকহেডটা কি? গজার, শৈল, গজার, এই মাছগুলা কিন্তু বাচ্চা দেয়, জোড়ায় জোড়ায় বাচ্চা দেয়। জোড়ায় জোড়ায় বাচ্চা দেওয়ার পর আপনি একটা মাছ ধরে ফেললেন, যেই মৌসুমটা ব্রিডিং সিজন, যেই মৌসুমটাতে তারা বাচ্চা দেয়, সেই সময় আপনি মা মাছ অথবা বাচ্চা মাছ, বাবা মাছটাকে ধরে ফেললেন। এই যে বাচ্চাগুলো আছে, জুভেনাইল যে ছোট ছোট বাচ্চাগুলো আছে, এটা কিন্তু অন্য মাছ খেয়ে ফেলবে, কাজে এই কাজটা করা যাবে না। এইগুলাই হচ্ছে এথিক্যাল গেম ফিশিং। আপনি কেমিক্যাল ইউজ করবেন, আপনি ইলেকট্রিক শক ইউজ করবেন, এটা এথিক্যাল গেম ফিশিং না। আরেকটা বিষয় এখানে এই আমার বন্ধু ডেরেক বলছিল যে এখানে এই রেকর্ডিং এর একটা বিষয় বলছে সে, না নট ভিডিও রেকর্ডিং, আমরা টক অ্যাবাউট ভিডিও রেকর্ডিং, আমি ভিডিও রেকর্ডিং এর কথা বলছি না। রেকর্ডিং হচ্ছে আপনি নদীতে যাচ্ছেন, আপনি বড় নদীতে যাচ্ছেন, লেকে যাচ্ছেন, আপনি ঘন্টার পর ঘন্টা, ও যেটা বলছিল ইউ স্পেন্ড আওয়ার্স এন্ড আওয়ার্স, ঘন্টার পর ঘন্টা আপনি বসে থাকছেন, পানির কি চেঞ্জ হচ্ছে, মাছটা কিভাবে আছে, কি করছে, মাছের সব এই জিনিসগুলো দেখতে পারেন। আগে দেখা যাচ্ছে ফর এক্সাম্পল Derek, I can mention the Ganges River dolphin, right? Because their number have massively declined. I can talk about that
Yes.
as well. Let me tell you something very important regarding this. Traditionally, we have this idea, we have this thought that we call it shushuk. We call this shushuk in Bangladesh. So this Ganges River dolphin, you kill it, you take the oil, you actually dry it, and you get the oil. If you use that oil for your joints, the pain goes away. That is a traditional way of saying it. And that is why people would kill all of them, take the oil and rub it on your body, which actually stinks. Trust me, it doesn't smell good. It is
Yeah.
even stronger than sardine oil. It does. I don't know if it works because I never tried because of the smell. People are doing it. The other thing, some people started saying that if you use this oil on your bait, the fish would take it for rivers. So normally people would kill it, they would take it home, dry it, extract the oil, and then go out fishing. And end of the day, they will turn up with a small tangra, so the small catfish and everything, and then they're like, "Oh, I got a few fish using this oil." So I'll say it in Bangla. তো আপনারা যেটা শুশুকের তেল দিলেই বলে মাছ হয় না, অসম্ভব, দিলেই মাছ হবে না, এটা অসম্ভব। শুশুকটা আপনারা মেরে ফেলছেন, মেরে ফেলে তেল বানাচ্ছেন, এই তেলটা আপনারা বিক্রি করছেন, কিনছেন। না ভাই, এটা দিস ইজ নট দ্য ওয়ে। এইগুলা না করে শুশুকের সংখ্যাটা তো বাড়তে হবে, তাই না? এগুলো তো শেষ হয়ে যাচ্ছে। এই কারণে এগুলোই আপনার ইথিক্স এর মধ্যে পড়ে, ইথিক্যাল গেম ফিশিং এর মধ্যে এই দায়িত্বগুলো পড়ে। There's another thing, Derek, I might add here. So ethical game fishing, as ethics is involved, as ethics is involved here. So does our behavior toward other anglers also count in this ethical game fishing? Our behavior,
Yes, of course.
not towards the nature, towards other anglers, other fellow anglers. The behavior towards everyone, does it even count here, being an ethical angler?
Yes, of course. I mean, as an ethical angler, you would respect each and everything, including an angler who is there. And if an angler is doing something wrong, it is your duty to ensure that you inform the angler what he's doing wrong, or pass on the knowledge to ensure that they understand, not get into a fight, but what I mean is like make them understand why it's important to follow certain ethics. That would enable them to be successful in the future years as well, not only that day,
তো যেটা বলছিল, শুধু যে এই ইথিক্যাল গেম ফিশিংটার মধ্যে এই মাছটাকে বাঁচানো ইনভলভ তা কিন্তু না। এর মধ্যে আমরা আমাদের আশপাশের যে শৌখিন মৎস্য শিকারী আছে, যে অ্যাংলারগুলো আছে, তাদের সঙ্গে আমরা কি বিহেভ করবো, কিভাবে কথা বলবো, মারামারি করবো বা কাটাকাটি করবো, এটা না। বিষয় হচ্ছে তাদেরকে বোঝানোর বিষয়টা, যে ভাই এটা বুঝেন, গালিগালাজ করবো, এই তুমি মোটা চিকন, এগুলা এই দিস ইজ নট দ্য ওয়ে। এগুলা বিষয় না, এটা পদ্ধতি না, এটা হচ্ছে পদ্ধতি অন্যরকম। আপনি বোঝান যে ভাই হ্যাঁ এটা কেমিক্যাল, এটা ভালো না, এই ডিভাইসটা ইউজ করে, নেটটা ইউজ করে না, এটা বুঝান। আপনি আদর করেন, মেক ফ্রেন্ডস, বি ফ্রেন্ডস, আপনি ক্লোজ হন, কাছে যান, আপনি মানুষটাকে বুঝান, ঘাড়ে হাত দিয়ে বুঝান। এইটাই দিস ইজ দ্য ওয়ে, এটা হচ্ছে বিষয়। Now,
yes, I just adding to one more thing, just an example on that as well. When we're talking about ethics, ethical angling is not only about releasing fish. Also, it's also about ensuring that you remove threats from particular river. For example, like we take African catfish, which is an invasive species which has been introduced in all our rivers, including Bangladesh, right? And it has destroyed completely our native fauna, right? It's one of the top predators, can live long, can live without water, can go anywhere, can live in the dirtiest of waters, and they reproduce very fast, and thereby actually they need more food, so they predate on anything, on everything that is there, right? Now, what is happening is in India, there have been rumors of the African catfish actually causing cancer, which is very stupid. But these rumors are going on. There are some viral videos as well going on saying that African catfish causes cancer, so people should not eat it, and things like that. In one way, it is good because then it stops people from breeding it and releasing it. Okay, but the other thing which we have seen what happens today is, if by any chance a fisherman or an angler catches that particular fish, what they do today is they release it back into the water, which is the worst thing that they can do, right? Yeah. The idea is that if you find that it as a threat, that is an invasive species, it should be removed from the water. If you don't eat it, no problem, give it to somebody, but do not put it back into the river because you're going to be part of that destruction.
Yes. So that small step, maybe it's a part of a trillion fish, but I remove one and I do my part. It's like that. It's my duty.
Yes.
তো যেটা ডাইরেক্ট বলছিল যে এই ইথিক্যাল গেমস এর আরেকটা পার্ট, যে আমরা যেহেতু মাছটা ছেড়েই দিব তা না, মাছ যেটা প্রয়োজন সেটা নিব, বাকিটা ছেড়ে তা না। এই আমাদের দেশে এবং ইন্ডিয়াতে, ইভেন ইন্ডিয়াতে এখন এই সমস্যাটা আছে, যে সাকার মাছগুলো আছে, তারপর হচ্ছে মাগুর মাছগুলো আছে, এগুলা হচ্ছে যদি উঠলে আর ছেড়ে দেওয়া যাবে না, ভাই আপনি নষ্ট করে ফেলেন, আপনি খাবেন না। যেমন ইন্ডিয়াতে বলা হয়েছে যে একটা কথা হচ্ছে মাছটা উঠে নাকি খেলে নাকি ক্যান্সার হয়, এটা একেবারে মিথ্যে কথা। যা এটা একটা ভালো দিক কি আছে যে মানুষ মাছটা উঠানোর পর পানিতে আর ছাড়ছে না, এটাকে মেরে ফেলছে। তো এইরকম জিনিসটা করতে হবে। আমরা আবার প্রশ্ন চলছি। Yes, Derek. So there's another question. What makes a man an angler? Very complicated question.
Well, if you look at the traditional sense, it's not. Basically, angling is using a hook and a line, and the angle of the hook is called an angler, right? So that's where it is. But when you go into an angler, there's a lot of things, because even a person using a bamboo rod and line with a hook at the end of it is also an angler. That's where it comes into. But then you can classify into many different things, like you said, the ethical angler, the sports angler. Then you have subsistence angler who catches fish to eat. The sports angler would probably just catch it and release it. But an angler is the one who uses typically a rod, a line, and a hook, right? So that's what is an angler. If he resorts to any other practice, by the means of using a net or any other devices apart from that, then he's not considered an angler. He becomes a fisherman at the end of it. And when you are also taking a lot of fish and selling it, you remove the spirit or the ethical spirit of fishing, and then you just become another fisherman by just using a rod and reel as a tool. But technically you're still an angler. That's a gray line over there as an angler, but then you're not really being an angler per se. You know what I mean? You understand what I'm saying, right? So that's where it is. So I think that's the only difference. A person who would not resort to any other methods of fishing and will continue to fish only using a hook and a line is an angler. Just because he doesn't catch, like what you said, and go into electric fishing doesn't make him an angler. Yeah.
So যেটা ডাইরেক্ট বলছিল যে এই অ্যাংলার কাকে বলে? ট্রেডিশনালি বড়শি, ছিপ, এই অ্যাঙ্গেলে ধরে, সুতা, এটা দিয়ে যে মাছ ধরে তাকে অ্যাংলার বলা হয়। কিন্তু এখানে যারা মাছ বিক্রি করার জন্য ছিপ বড়শিতে ধরছেন তাদেরকে অ্যাংলার বলার কোনো সুযোগ নাই। চাইলে আপনি বলতে পারেন, বাট ওই ইথিক্স এর সেন্স থেকে সুযোগ নাই। আপনি মনকে মন মাছ ধরে বাজারে বেচে দিচ্ছেন, আপনি ভাগা দিয়ে বিভিন্ন টিকিট কম্পিটিশনে যাচ্ছেন, এটাকে বলছেন কম্পিটিশন, টিকিট, পাস নিয়ে আসতেছেন, নিয়ে এসে বিক্রি করতেছেন। This is the other thing. This is very interesting thing. So we have these local fishing competitions. They call it a competition because that's more like a trademark word, So there's like 12 seats, 12 ghat we call it. So there will be like each ghat would cost around 10,000 taka. So there's heaps of people who can't afford everything, They still use bamboo rods and other things, cheap Chinese rods and stuff and lines. So what they would do is they would take one ghat, maybe 10 people, they will share it among them. They will take the ghat, they will go fishing there, and they'll take all the fish and sell it off. So would I call them an angler? What would I call them? There is a gray line, I do understand. But what should I call them? What is the ethics? I'm calling it a competition. So would I sell my prize up? I'm going out hunting. I'm going out hunting a tiger. Maybe I shot a tiger. Would I bring it back home and sell the skin off? Would I do it if
No,
I'm
no,
a hunter? हम शिकारी है तो वो करेंगे क्या? अगर हम
no.
शिकारी हम बेचेंगे क्या?
No, technically you do not sell your catch, but as I told you, there are two differences there. One is a subsistence angler who would catch fish for food, not to sell
Yeah.
primarily, but fish for food. So that's something which becomes it becomes a little bit gray line, as you mentioned. It is a gray line on that front. This thing you're talking about, is it a pond or is it a river where these
It's a
guys
pond.
bait it?
It's still water. It's
Okay,
still water. It's
so
a pond. It can be a
and
pond.
the
It can be a
fish
lake.
are being
Mostly it's a pond. You can't call it a
are the
lake.
fish introduced fish?
Introduced like on 30th of June. There's the event date. On the 1st of June, I'll get some fish and put it in the pond.
Oh,
So
okay,
that
okay,
is how
okay,
it's
okay.
introduced.
Oh, okay.
So once
Okay,
the
but
event
it
is
is.
over, I'll buy some more fish and put it in. That's how it works.
Okay.
Get it back.
So see, this comes under something like stocked ponds, right? So these ponds are man-made and it's a stocked pond. Technically, again, there is a lot of difference there. It doesn't matter if you take the fish away because you are putting the fish, because it's not a wild caught fish. It's a
Yeah.
farm-raised fish and you've been putting it into the pond. And it's technically meant for eating or whatever it is. I mean, that's why you're putting it in from the
Farm
fisheries. Yeah. So if you don't use angling as a method to catch them, then they would net it and take it and sell it anyway, right? So that's how a pond owner makes money or whatever in that front. It's a method is different, but the end result is the same on that front. But what I have seen is, habit creates people, and what they do in a pond exactly happens the same thing on a river. So when they're fishing in a pond and they're used to taking 10 fish or 20 fish that they catch to take it home or sell, and when they go into the river, the same practice is done, which is wrong, which is completely wrong. Right? Yeah.
So যেটা বলছে, আমি যেটা প্রশ্ন করছিলাম যে আপনারা পুকুরে যে টিকিটে মাছ শিকার করেন, এই যে মাছ শিকার শব্দটা, এটা ওই যে এথিক্যাল গেম ফিশিং এর পয়েন্ট অফ ভিউ থেকে এটা পড়ে না, এটা কোনোভাবে শিকারীর সাথে যায় না। আমার মতামত না, আপনারা অনেকে আমাকে বলবেন এটা আমার মতামত না। একজন আইজিএফ এর রিপ্রেজেন্টেটিভ, ডেরেক হচ্ছে একটা ব্র্যান্ড ওনার। ডেরেক, as I said, you're owner of Pelagic tribe. If I'm not wrong. So there's lots of things Derek knows. অনেক কিছু আছে Derek জানে. He works with different authorities. He's been to different countries. He's been to different rivers, different remote places. Even I've been with Derek in the same camp.
Yes.
I don't want to disclose it. We've been in the same camp. We've seen the same tigers. I wouldn't call it tiger. What would I call it?
Leopards.
Or a mountain lion or a leopard. Whatever we could
Leopard,
call it. Let's call it a lion. From our point of view, it's a lion for us. Right? So আমরা এরকম বিভিন্ন জায়গায় গেছি, দেখেছি। So আমরা জানি, ও জানে। তো এখানে আপনারা যদি কেউ অপোজ করেন, যে no, Derek is wrong, Akib is wrong, fine, you can oppose it. আপনি বলতে পারেন, fine, you can oppose it. But you cannot say if it is day, if there's sunlight, it is day. If there's moonlight, it's night. It's as simple as that. You can't say if it is moonlight, it's day. You can't say that. So things are the way it is. Ethics is on its own pace, on its own place. So আপনারা যারা বলছেন যে আমি মৎস্য শিকারী এশিয়ান, আমাদের পয়েন্ট অফ ভিউ সাথে আপনার যায় না। That doesn't mean যে we are right. That doesn't mean you're right. That doesn't mean we are wrong. That doesn't mean you're wrong. But it's different point of view. People can have different point of views, right? So আমরা ইথিক্যালি চিন্তা করি, তাই বলে আপনি খারাপ আমি ভালো বা আমি খারাপ আপনি ভালো, এটা না। এটা কখনোই হতে পারে না। বাট দেখেন আন্তর্জাতিকভাবে জিনিসগুলোকে কিভাবে দেখা হয়, আমরা কিভাবে দেখি আর আপনারা কিভাবে দেখেন, এটাই বলছিলাম। There's the other thing that came into my mind. I think this should be spoken about because things been happening recently. Not recently, it's been happening for years and years. You can call it out of topic, but I would say it's still in topic. That is body shaming in angling community. Okay, as I asked you, Derek, that what makes you an angler? Is there a specific appearance of an angler that you have to be skinny or you have to be fat? You can be white, you can be black. You have to have a clean shaved face. Like you have a long beard. I have a long beard. My beard's like messy all the time. My shirts messy. Same as yours, because we've been
Yeah,
working hard, right? We don't
yeah,
have. If you're going out on fishing or even hunting, you don't have time for personal care. Yes, personal protective equipment. We have time for that, but we don't have time for sunscreen and everything, right? We don't have time for that. We don't comb our hair and stuff like that. So the thing is
yes.
that happens in Bangladesh a lot, a lot. That
Oh,
is, you're skinny. You don't have any energy. You can't feel. You're not an angler. You're black. You can't be an angler. You're fat. You can't be an angler. That's what been people saying. And I've been saying, man, this is racism. Trust me, this is racism.
yeah,
In order to be an angler, you don't need to be skinny or fat. Well,
yeah,
there's sumo wrestlers, right? In Japan, there's
yeah.
sumo wrestlers. Okay, fine. You go and you face one of them. Fine. You say that if you're fat, you can't walk or run. Go to a sumo wrestler. It should teach you a good lesson, right? That's what happens.
Yeah,
So what is your point of view? That personal appearance, your
yeah.
skin color, your face, your everything, your physical structure, does it count when you're talking about an angler?
No, 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 not at all. There's nothing. I don't think any of that is in picture. Your race, creed, color, skin, height, weight does not matter at all if you're fishing. So that's the great thing about this as a sport, right?
Yeah.
Anyone can do it. Anyone can do it. Like you said, exactly. A sumo wrestler, like, okay, a skinny person cannot go and become a sumo wrestler, right? So that's going to be against the rule. But in angling as a sport, anyone can do it. You can be short, you can be tall, you can be skinny, you can be fat, you can be, but black, you can be brown, and things like that. I
You
wear
can
my
be
beard, so I don't
four-legged,
get
you can be
burnt.
eight-legged, you can be 100 feet tall. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, right.
As long as
Exactly,
you have
exactly.
a rod and a reel and a line or a hook and a line, that's it. You're an
Yeah,
angler.
yeah,
You
yeah,
go out
yeah. And
fishing.
yeah, you cannot discriminate even in terms of gender as well, because there are women anglers, there are male anglers, so you cannot discriminate even the gender. I'm not sure how many women anglers are there in Bangladesh, but in India there are few, but it's quite picking up, and we are seeing new YouTube channels coming out of women anglers who are pursuing it as a
Yeah.
sport. So that's something great that's happening on that front as well. And like as for the beard, I keep the beard so I don't get burnt. Others I can shave.
True. True.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, I mean that's a joke, but it does not matter how you look. For fish, everyone is the same.
It
It's
is.
just because, yeah, it's just because you're thin, you won't be catching more fish. So just because you're fat, it doesn't mean you'll be catching more fish, or the fish get attracted to you. For
Yeah.
fish, everyone is equal. So that's the
Well, from
that's the beauty
my
of this
point of
sport.
view, I have a huge, massive belly, and I have to fill it up so I catch more fish. That makes me a better angler because I eat a lot. My
Yeah.
appearance says that because
Mhm.
I'm fat, I have a huge stomach, and I need to fill it up. You might have 200 grams of fish fillet, and that would be enough for you. For me, it's 4 kg fish, at least 4 kg to fill up, right? So what's wrong with it? But still, through this video, as we're having a good chat here, I am raising my voice that while angling or this fishing or fishing community, whatever it is, racism is not good. You can't discriminate anyone based
Yeah.
on their physical appearance or their face or their
Yeah.
skin color. This is not good. Are
Yeah.
you with me? What is your
Yes,
thought?
yes, I am.
Do you
Yes,
agree?
yes. Yeah, just the question should be to everyone is, does the fish discriminate you? If the fish discriminates you, then yes, you have the right. If the fish does not discriminate you, then you have no
Yes.
right to
The,
discriminate
the
anyone.
fish is not looking at your face and say, "Oh, you're too fat. I'm not going to go in your stomach. I'm not going to have a bite of your face," right?
Exactly.
Okay,
Exactly.
I'll translate this in Bangla. So যেটা বলছিলাম, আমাদের বাংলাদেশে এখন বিভিন্ন জায়গায় বিভিন্ন ফিশিং কমিউনিটিতে আজে বাজে কথা বলা, মোটা কালো এই সেই বিভিন্ন ধরনের আজে বাজে কথা বলা হয়ে থাকে। নৈতিকতার দিক থেকে কোনো ভালো ধরনের এটা কাজ না। একটা মানুষের শারীরিক গঠন, চেহারা, চামড়ার কালার, বর্ণ, মেয়ে পুরুষ ধর্ম এগুলো নিয়ে আপনারা কোনোদিন কথা বলতে পারেন না। এটা একেবারে ঘৃণিত এবং গর্হিত কাজ। দেখেন আমি ডেরেকের সাথে কথা বলছি, সেও এগ্রি করলো এই জিনিসটার উপর, সেও এগ্রি করলো। এবং যে কেউই
Mm.
বলবে যে এটা কোনোভাবেই ভালো কাজ না। আমাদের দেশের নামটা তো আপনারা এভাবেই ডুবান। কিভাবে ডুবান? যে ছোট, ছোট অ্যাংলিং কমিউনিটি আছে, এ ওকে গালিগালাজ করে, ওখানে খালি গালিগালাজ চলে যায়।
হুম।
এ মোটা, ও কালো, ও পাঠা বা এ করে তো আপনারাই বাংলাদেশের নামটা ডুবাচ্ছেন। আমি তো ডুবাচ্ছি না, আপনারা ডুবাচ্ছেন। সো দিস ইজ নট দ্য ওয়ে। সৌহার্দ্যপূর্ণ একটা
Correct.
বিষয় আছে। দেখেন দেশের নামটা বাইরে এখন মানুষের কাছে কিভাবে যাচ্ছে এবং কিভাবে তারা দেখছে জিনিসটা। তারা কোনোভাবে ভালোভাবে দেখছে না। সো প্লিজ স্টপ ইট। Discrimination is
Absolutely.
not a good thing. Please stop it. হাত জোড় করে বলছি। You should be ashamed of yourself when you discriminate others. Please এই কাজটা করবেন না।
Yes, that's correct. That's absolutely correct.
So let's change the topic. That was
Yeah, that was a
I'll
bit
have a drink.
intense.
Don't think I'm promoting anyone, but it's 42 degrees. It's right here. It's 42 degrees right now. So I'm going to have
Wow.
a drink.
Yeah.
I would share it with you if I was sitting face to face with you. But yeah, I might email you a bottle. Is that okay?
Yeah, yeah, sure. Yeah, yeah. I'm drinking my tea.
It's
Yeah.
Diet Pepsi. It's sugar free. I'll just have a sip. Yes. So regarding choosing best fishing gears, how would you
Yeah.
give your thoughts regarding it? The best fishing gear.
Yeah. So, see, best fishing gear could be, again, a very, very wide topic. What we would say is choosing the right gear is probably a better way of putting it. Like, let's give an example of your cutla fishing, right, which is one of
Yeah.
the most popular thing on that front. I wouldn't use a catfish rod to fish for catla, right? It's got a soft mouth and it does not have a bend. The catfish rod does not have a bend. And
Yeah.
if I try and get a cutla in, it's going to tear the mouth of the cutla and you're going to lose the fish, right?
Yeah.
So if you're going to fish for cutla, then you need a rod which is progressive, we can handle the full bend and the curve. Okay, allow the fish to take the shock so that the hook does not rip out of the mouth and come out. So that is what is very important. Again, I wouldn't use that rod to go fishing for catfish because it's useless. If I use a progressive rod and go fish for catfish, big catfish like goons or whatever it is,
Yeah.
the catfish is going to break the rod or it's just going to keep, you will not be able to control the fish and not take it up. And that becomes a problem. The second thing is also is I would say is when you go for saltwater fishing, you take a rod which is saltwater capable. That means to say it's got some saltwater guides. You take saltwater reel so that the saltwater does not affect your equipment in the long run, right? But
Yeah.
of course, the saltwater equipment can be used in freshwater without any problems because it does not affect it. So choosing the right equipment is more important than anything else, right? If I'm fishing in a dam to catch a cutla, a 6 feet rod won't do. I need a 12 feet rod because I need to
Yeah.
get that distance, 80 meters or 100 meters. I need to, cast my bait there. So with a 6 foot rod, it's going to be useless. So I would choose a 12 foot rod. Now, if I'm fishing in a dam or fishing in a big river, then I need a lot of line capacity because the fish is going to be slightly bigger. It has more space to run and it's going to take a lot of line. So I would use 8,000 or a 12,000 or a 14,000 size reel and ensure that is there. If I'm going fishing for snakehead, I'm not going to use a 12-foot rod with the 18,000 reel to cast frogs because it's going to be too heavy. It's going to be unnecessary for me to cast frogs on that. And I will be able to do 2, 3 casts and I'll keep it down. So I need lighter gear. So I'll use a 6-foot or a 7-foot rod. I'll use a 4,000 or a 5,000 reel. I'll use a thinner line. I have to ensure that the frog, what I'm casting, goes far away. So these are some of the most important things. Now, coming to the ethical angling part as well, there are two different methods here. One is you play the fish for a very, 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 very long time and come and land the fish. That means you would have heard anglers saying, "Oh, I caught this fish in 4-pound line. I caught this fish in 5-pound line."
Yeah.
And if it is for sport fishing, it actually creates more damage. as you are aware as well, that the lactic acid builds up in the fish when you're fighting the fish for a long period. So by the time you get the fish up to you, by the time you land it, the lactic acid is so badly built up that it is possible to kill that fish, even if you release it, you know. The second thing also is not to try and get something very, very fast as well, right? What happens is if you try and pull the fish very fast inside and take it out onto the land, it's going to flutter more. It's going to jump and things like that, and it could get hurt in that process. And then you release. You could also get hurt because if it's fluttering, you're trying to handle the fish, the hooks can go into you. So it is a problem that way. So it's better to actually fight it optimally and use optimal gears. So that would be my recommendation. Not fight it too slowly, not fight it too fast, So that way you have more chances of the fish having a proper recovery and going back. Of course, if you're going to eat that fish, then it really does not matter. But even while eating fish, it does not make sense for you to, catch a fish, fight it for a very, very long time, and get that fish which has got so much lactic acid buildup that it won't taste good. So it's better for you to optimally fight it. So using the right equipment rather than the best equipment makes a lot of sense. Now, if you're talking about like choosing what type of equipment, like you have the Stellas, okay, which are like costing lakh and a half rupees or whatever it is, and then you have an FX reel, which is the Shimano, which is the lowest of the reel, which is costing about 2,500. It's the idea is whether it solves your purpose. Okay, does it solve your purpose? If you are trying to catch a snakehead, you probably don't need a Stella. But if you're trying to catch a GT, you cannot use an FX, right? So it's like using a motorcycle and using a quad bike. If you're trying to use like a moped, trying to climb a mountain, it's not going to work. So you would need a quad bike to open it. So these are the two things. If you try and do that, you're going to ruin your moped. It's going to go for a toss and you're going to spoil. So you'd rather get a right equipment to do the right job. So yes, it's important that you choose these.
So there's Shimano in India, right?
Yes, we are the distributors for Shimano in India.
Fine. So Derek, you're the distributor of Shimano of India. The other thing. What happens is there's heaps of they're mostly made in Malaysia, right? They've been distributed through China, through India, through Malaysia, and other places, Singapore, and everything. And I've also seen that there's Shimano South Asia Private Limited in Chennai. I've also seen their office. So
no, that is Cycles.
Yeah. So
that's for cycles, not for fishing gear.
They're linked to Shimano, which means some countries have the Shimano cycles, some countries have the Shimano fishing. Like even in Bangladesh, the importers who import Shimano cycle parts and everything. So it's everywhere. So regarding the warranty, so is there any service center in India for Shimano?
Yes, we are the authorized service center in India. So we service all Shimano reels. We are authorized to service all kinds of Shimano reels.
Fine. So I can ask people to bring in stuff from India, right?
Yeah.
So I'll be asking other people, other businessmen in Bangladesh who are importing stuff from Malaysia, Shimano stuff. I'll ask them to bring it in from India. Is that fine for you? There's no
absolutely.
Right? There's no red flags, right?
No. There's no red flags. Yeah.
The funniest part is there's a massive debate in Bangladesh saying that this one is real, that one is fake. This FX is original, that FX is fake. Oh, the one sold cheaper, that guy sold it for cheaper and it got discolored. That is why it is fake. Who would make an FX reel? It is, even if you fabricate it from somewhere, it will cost the same as the original one. To be honest.
No. But to be honest, there are fake reels, but maybe not FX. But we've had like the Stradix and the Naskis and the Saharas, which people buy from AliExpress.
Yeah,
completely fake. Yeah, completely fake. The body could be, I mean, the spool is probably the only thing that is original in that, but the body is not of the same material which Shimano makes, and definitely not the components that go inside are not the same. Most of it is plastic parts, because you can buy a Stradic on, AliExpress for like 5,000 rupees, which is not even the manufacturing cost price for a Shimano. You know what I'm saying?
right.
So yeah, so that it is possible, and this does happen, but not in the entry level reels. Not mostly in the entry level reels. It's mostly
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
mid segment reels.
Right. The costlier ones.
Yeah.
5,
Yes.
10, 12, 30K. Those
Yeah.
ones.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it's worth the profit when they fabricate
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
It's the counterfeit one. There's no profit in it. That is why. So
Yes. Yes.
this question I asked you intentionally. As you're my good
Yeah.
friend, I asked you intentionally. I mean, I know everything. We've been on the same
Yeah.
table discussing about
Yeah.
a lot of things. So, but
Yes.
still, there are certain people having a fight regarding it. That's
Yeah.
why, chota mota,
Yeah. Yeah.
chota
Yeah.
mota.
Yeah.
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 তো যারা এতক্ষণ শুনছিলেন এই যে কথা বলতে বলতে, যেটা হচ্ছে সবচেয়ে বেস্ট ফিশিং রড বা বেস্ট ফিশিং রিল কোনটা, বিষয়টা এটা না যে which one is the best one, সবচেয়ে ভালো কোনটা সেটা না। প্রশ্নটা হচ্ছে যে আপনার জন্য কোনটা জরুরি, কোন রড, কোন রিল, কোন মাছের জন্য জরুরি, সেটা হচ্ছে প্রশ্ন। ফর এক্সাম্পল, যেটা বললো যে ক্যাটফিশ অর্থাৎ মাগুর মাছ ধরবেন, ফর এক্সাম্পল তাইওয়া ফ্যান্টম ক্যাটফিশ, you cannot go out fishing for katla with that rod. That doesn't have a proper curve or a bend. অনেকে আসলে আপনারা দেখবেন কার্প ফিশিং রডের মধ্যে 3.5 lb 4.5 lb টেস্ট কার্ভ লেখা থাকে, ঠিক আছে? এটা এরকম বেন্ড হয়। এই জিনিসগুলা কার্প ফিশিং এর জন্য, এটা আপনি কাতলা ধরতে নিয়ে যেতে পারেন, বাট আপনি ক্যাটফিশ, ডাইভাফ্যান্টম ক্যাটফিশ দিয়ে কাতলা ধরতে যেতে পারেন না। কেন পারেন না? ইউ মাইট চুজ ইট, আপনার ভালো লাগতে পারে, আপনি নিতে পারেন, আই এম নট আস্কিং ডোন্ট বাই ইট, বাট বিষয়টা হচ্ছে যেটা যে কাজের জন্য। আপনি একটা মাছ কতক্ষণ খেলায় উঠাবেন সেটাও নির্ভর করে রডটার উপর, এই রিলটার উপর, ঠিক আছে? সো যেটা আপনার পারপাস সার্ভ করবে সেই রড এবং রিলটা আপনার জন্য বেস্ট। আপনার মন চাইলে কিনে নিতে পারেন, বাট সেটা পারফেক্ট হবে না। আর রিগার্ডিং শিমানো ইন্ডিয়াতে ডিস্ট্রিবিউটর হচ্ছে আমার বন্ধু ডেরেক। সো কেউ যদি শিমানো বাংলাদেশে রিজনেবল এবং প্রপার প্রাইসে এখন থেকে ইম্পোর্ট করতে চান, আমি আপনাদেরকে হেল্প করব। সো বাল্ক লটে যদি কেউ আনতে চান, শিমানো যে ইন্ডিয়াতে ডিস্ট্রিবিউটর আছে তারা বাংলাদেশ সরাসরি দিবে, আই উইল হেল্প ইউ, আমি আপনাদেরকে ব্যবস্থা করে দিব। সো এইটা অরিজিনাল, ওইটা অরিজিনাল, এটা ফেক, ওইটা ফেক, এত দরকার নাই। আপনারা হাজার হাজার কার্টুন যদি আপনি আনতে চান বাল্ক লটে, ফর এক্সাম্পল এফএক্স, এটা হচ্ছে 24 পিসেস এর কার্টুন, রাইট? FX is like 3 small cartons, 8 each. So in a bigger box, there's 24 pieces, 24 each.
24 pieces. Yeah.
So FX যদি আপনারা কেউ নিতে চান, আমাদের সাথে যোগাযোগ করবেন, আমরা আপনাদেরকে ব্যবস্থা করে দেবো, এবং এখন থেকে এলসি থেকে শুরু করে সব হেল্প আপনাদেরকে আমরা করবো ন্যায্য প্রাইসে, কোনো অসুবিধা নেই। এছাড়া আরো যেটা চান, শিমানো, স্ট্র্যাডিক, নাস্কি, সাহারা, আলটেগ্রা, এনিথিং যেটা আপনাদের দরকার এনে দিব। For Shimano warranty, you don't need to fly to Malaysia or send anyone to Malaysia. Shimano ওয়ারেন্টির জন্য মালয়েশিয়া যাওয়ার আপনার দরকার নাই। ইন্ডিয়াতে অথরাইজড সার্ভিস সেন্টার আছে। আমার বন্ধু, my friend Derek, he does everything. He is an authorized one, and that service center is authorized. So সেখানে আপনি প্রপারলি ওয়ারেন্টি ক্লেম করতে পারবেন, আপনি স্পেয়ার পার্টস পাবেন, সবকিছু ঠিক করতে পারবেন। এত আসল নকলের দরকার নেই ভাই। সো এইটা হচ্ছে বাস্তবতা। শিমানো নিয়ে বড় একটা জিনিস খোলাসা করে দিলাম। কারো লাগলে বলিয়েন, আপনাদেরকে এনে দিব। মালয়েশিয়া থেকে আনতে হবে, সিঙ্গাপুর থেকে আনতে হবে, দরকার নাই। It is the same product which is coming through different channels. This is very important. Don't be offended, Derek, but I'm saying this because there are FTA, free trade agreement between multiple countries. Between Malaysia and India, there is an FTA, free trade agreement. Between Malaysia and Bangladesh, there is no FTA. So if you bring stuff from Malaysia to Bangladesh, that will cost you more. The tax will be higher. If you bring it from Malaysia to India, the tax will be less. That is why in India it is cheaper, because they're paying less tax. And in
Exactly.
Bangladesh, they're paying more tax. So আপনি ইন্ডিয়াতে সস্তায় পাবেন, বাংলাদেশের চাইতে অরিজিনাল জিনিসই পাবেন। এখন আপনারা যদি কেউ চান, তাহলে আপনারা এখন বলতে পারেন প্রমাণ করতে চাইলে এই বলবেন সেই বলবেন, ডেরেক ভুয়া, এই সমস্যা ওই সমস্যা আপনি করতে পারেন। বাট আপনি যদি এখন বলতে পারেন যে একজন IGFA রিপ্রেজেন্টেটিভ, একজন ব্র্যান্ড ওনার, একজন AIGF এর মানুষ, একজন মানে ওয়ার্ল্ড ক্লাস অ্যাংলার, একজন আর কি বলবো, I can't add more. I'm out of words. If you say this guy is making a joke out of everything, আপনার যদি মনে হয় এটা ফাইজলামি করতেছে, no, then you're a joke
No.
yourself. I'm not joking.
Correct.
Derek is not joking. আমরা কেউ joke করতেছি না. If you think this is a joke, then you're a joke by yourself. It's not us, right?
Correct.
So এটা হচ্ছে
Correct.
বাস্তবতা. For example, as Derek, as I was, because I know pretty much everything. We had discussed things earlier.
Yeah.
Even 1 year back, as a year ago, it's been a year. Yes, it's been a
Yes.
year.
It's been a year.
It's been a year, and we're on the same bloody table with. It's an offensive word, but still, we were on the same table, and there were these small charger lights. We're having dinner, and we were discussing about something out of our passion. Like, for example, Derek, they have it's Aerobio, right? Derek?
Yes, that's right.
Aerobio.
Yeah.
So when you talk about conservation, your love, your thoughts, your ethics towards everything, you feel responsible for everything, right? For the fish,
Okay.
for the nature, for the air, for the world, for the people. You feel for them. You feel liable for everything. You want to make the world a better place. You
Yes.
want to be part of the cause. That's the thing. Things work like that. So Derek was discussing with me, and I was saying him that one of the things that pollute our waters is the septic tanks. I was telling Derek this, that when one of my ponds, that there was someone's house beside my pond, the septic tank was washed, and all those waste was put in the pond, and all my fish died. I was discussing it with Derek, and then Derek said, "Yes, things happen like that," and that is why we came out with an idea. Derek's company, they came out with an idea with a product called Aerobio. Do you know that this thing, you put it in your septic tank, everything, all the wastage that has gone down, it's biologically broken down. The solid
Right.
thing drops down, the water separates, it goes into the, it won't go into anywhere. It's actually soaked into the earth. So it's the, what you call it? What water
The
do you
soak
call
pit.
it?
The black
Surface
water.
The surface water goes down. So it is separated as the surface water. It's biologically broken down. No chemical is left there. It goes down. So it's a biological solution, I would say. So you're without cycling, without cleaning anything, this Aerobio thing, it is breaking down everything. It is making into a biomass, I would say, and then it slowly
Organically.
converts into soil. So why
Yes.
did he make it? Why did Derek came up with this? Because he knows that somehow all this wastage will either go down the sewer, end up somewhere, and the ultimate destination would be our rivers or the sea.
Yes.
So that
Yes.
is why Derek
Always.
came up with this idea. And this Aerobio, so this Aerobio, I keep forgetting the names. So this Aerobio, it has made a massive change,
Yes.
I've seen Derek's product, not Derek, Derek's product. You know those remote areas like people living near the rivers or the hills and stuff like that. They have these small tanks, septic tanks, and everything. I've seen Derek sending these things for free. Please use it. Please use it. Don't pollute our waters. Don't pollute our rivers. I've seen Derek doing it, and that is a costly product. Trust me, it is not something that you mix 200 grams of masala and 200 grams of some charai, you mix it and you put it in water. It's not like that. It is something that is made in the lab, and he's been sending it all over. He doesn't need to do business with it, just for the sake of our future, our next generation, the waters and the fish. He's been doing it. If anyone thinks this is a promotion, I'm sorry to say, this is your thought that I'm promoting it. No, this is a cause I'm talking about. This is not a promotion of a product.
No, it's not.
For me, Derek, it's hats off to you, man.
Thank you.
People might have other, that thing. अरे यार तुम तो दिखते ऐसे हो, तुम कैसे ये कर सकते हो? You don't look like a scientist, man. How did you get it? No, you're not a scientist. You didn't make it. You bought it off from someone else and you start selling it.
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
yes. It's the same thing. If he bought it off from someone else and started selling it, then you also bought those charai and everything else from someone else and you started fishing, right? So वो
Yes.
भी उधार
Yes.
का है.
Yes.
अगर ये उधार का है ना भैया, तो वो भी उधार का है.
Yeah.
So
No,
for
no,
me,
it's correct.
personally, Derek, that is something I would really thank you from the bottom of my heart, because it is
Thank you.
it is changing things. It is changing things.
Yes.
Because I've been down there. I've seen the dam is the work of the dam is going to be completed pretty soon. The water levels, things are going to change. I know.
Correct.
It's really bad for the fish. And globally, there are people. The water bodies, it's being segregated. They're putting in dams and everything. So there's going to be a third world war for the waters. And in between, there's the fish. They have no place to go.
Correct.
They can't stay in the water, and they can't jump out of the water. Where will they end? You know,
Yeah.
it is that way. So I'll translate the whole thing in Bengali. So এটা যেটা বলছিলাম, মিথিক্যাল গেম ফিশিং, মাছের প্রতি ভালোবাসা, এটা যে শুধু আপনি মাছ ধরবেন ছাড়বেন এটা না, এটা নিয়ে পরিবেশের চিন্তাটাও আসে, এটার জন্য কাজ করা হয়। এই যে আমার বন্ধুদের এর সঙ্গে আমরা বসে একসাথে ডিনার করছি একটা তাঁবুর নিচে বসে, জঙ্গলের মধ্যে পাহাড়ের মধ্যে তাঁবুর নিচে বসে, আশপাশে বাঘটা অনেক কিছু আছে, আমরা ডিনার করছি, সেখানে বসে আমরা জিনিসটা নিয়ে আলোচনা করছি। কি জিনিসটা? যে এই যে সেপটিক ট্যাঙ্কের মধ্যে যে ময়লাগুলো জমে মানুষের, এটা মানুষ বাইরে ফেললে এটা ড্রেনে যায়, সুয়ারেজে যায়, সেখান থেকে নদীতে পড়ে, সমুদ্রে পড়ে, মাছের জন্য ক্ষতি হয়। আমরা কি দিয়ে পরিষ্কার করি? One thing I need to mention at this point, locally in Bangladesh, when they're cleaning this septic tank, it would be done manually. Someone would go down there, clean it, and
Yeah.
they would use kerosene.
Oh.
Yes, they would use kerosene. Traditionally, they call it mitti ka tel. Mitti
Yeah,
ka
yeah,
tel
yeah, I know,
में
yeah.
जाएगा, तो problem नहीं है. That's what they think. So
Oh.
kerosene দিয়ে এটা পরিষ্কার করার পরে যখন এটা ফেলে দেবেন পানিতে, মাছ কিন্তু মরে যেতে পারে, নদীর জন্য সবকিছুর জন্য ক্ষতিকর। আমরা চিন্তা করছি, এই যে ডাইরেক্ট চিন্তা করছে, এই পাহাড়ি নদীগুলো আছে, ঝর্ণাগুলো আছে, ফর এক্সাম্পল অল দ্য রিভার্স ইন বাংলাদেশ, দ্য সোর্স ইজ Mahakali, Saryu. These are the rivers that come down from Himalayas slowly all through India and Pakistan, and from on our side in Bangladesh we call it Padma, Meghna, Jamuna and everything. So the source is the same. It's coming from one source. এটা একটা নদী থেকে আসতেছে। ওইখানে যারা বাসিন্দা আছে, পাহাড়ি বাসিন্দা, তারা যাতে ময়লাগুলো ওখানে না ফেলে, এই জন্য এই এরো বায়োটা আমরা তৈরি করি। আমি বললে ভুল হবে, এটা 100% ডেরেকের বুদ্ধি, এটা ওর ব্রেইন চায়। তো এটা দেওয়ার পরে এটা যখন আপনি সেপটিক ট্যাঙ্কে দিবেন, পুরাটাকে সে পচায় ফেলবে, পচায় ফেলে কার্বন ডাইঅক্সাইড CO2 গ্যাস হয়ে বের হয়ে যাবে, আর সলিড যেটা আছে সেটা নিচে সলিডটা বসে যায়, পানিটা আলাদা হয়ে বসে যায়। সো এটা আপনার কোনো কেমিক্যাল কিচ্ছু নাই। এই জিনিসটা কি কারণে করা হয়েছে? বিকজ ডেরেক মাছ ভালোবাসে, মাছের ভবিষ্যৎ, আমার ভবিষ্যৎ, আপনার ভবিষ্যৎ নিয়ে চিন্তা করে, এই কারণে আমরা এটা করি। কাজে আমার শেষ কথা হবে যে ভাই, আপনারা যে রেসিজম দেখাচ্ছেন সেটা বাদ দেন, আপনারা যে হীনমন্যতা করছেন বাদ দেন, এই ফিশিং করছেন, একটু হলেও ইথিক্যাল গেম ফিশিংটা মাথায় নেন, আর একটু দায়িত্বশীল হন, কি করা যায় না করা যায়। এবং নিম্ন মানসিকতা নিয়ে দরকার নাই, মাছ ধরতে আসছেন, মাছ ধরেন, এটাই হচ্ছে আমার কথা। So, Derek, end of the day, I would really like to say sorry to you, because
John, I'm really sorry.
I'm not sure if you liked what I said. I'm not supposed to say everything about you and then your product and everything. I might have offended you. So personally,
No,
I'm really
not
sorry,
at all.
but I said what I felt like.
Correct.
I said what I felt like, because I've been there, I've seen it, and I know how it works. And I've lost a few fish, not a few fish. It's around more than 2 tons of fish, because some dumb guy, he just washed the whole thing and dumped it into my
Dumped it into your thing. Yeah.
Yes, and
Yeah.
everything died. That's what happened. I still recall it. And I had 3 fishes. They were black carps. So one was 14, one was 17, and one was 21 kilo. And they were with me for the last 10 years.
Huh.
Each time we would net it, I would take it out of the water, hold them like my babies, and let them into the water again. It was like,
Yeah.
and I lost all those fish just because of this guy. And
Yeah.
people said that go put a case on him, this and that. I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm just praying
Yeah.
that उसको थोड़ा सा दिमाग दो, please. ऊपर वाला थोड़ा सा दिमाग दो. Please
Correct.
give it some brains that this is not the way.
Correct. Correct.
Yes. Now,
No, it's true. I mean, it causes a lot of destruction. And just to add to that point, a river or a water body with no fish is unusable. You cannot use the water from that river or a lake.
Yeah, because this is going to be another long story. Why? Because if we start talking about the nitrogen cycle and everything, how it gets filtered, what nutrients go from the rivers, what nutrients go to the earth, what the trees take, and other things. It's going to be a massive discussion. So,
Yeah.
if we started, it's going to be more than a few days, I would say.
Yeah.
So, we're not going to start that
True.
today. Derek, it was really, really nice talking to you. And
The pleasure was mine.
And from your busy schedule, you gave me around an hour and 10 minutes.
No, thank you so much. It was very nice talking to you as well. I mean, I think there's a lot of things we can do for each other countries, and our anglers as well. There are a lot of learnings which we can take from you, and you can take a lot of learnings from us. And if we can try and implement it, then we all can conserve the one thing which we absolutely love, which is the fish.
Yes. And coffee.
Yeah. True.
So, Derek, thank you for today.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, we'll finish the live here. I'll do the outro or the ending speech.
Sure.
So, Derek আমাদেরকে এতক্ষণ সময় দিয়েছে। আবারও মনে করায় দিই, ডেরেক হচ্ছে ইন্টারন্যাশনাল গেম ফিশ অ্যাসোসিয়েশনের ইন্ডিয়ান রিপ্রেজেন্টেটিভ, পেলাজিক ট্রাইবের মালিক, শিমানো ইন্ডিয়া ডিলার বলেন, যাই বলেন, যেভাবে বলেন না কেন, সবকিছু, এবং সার্ভিস অথরাইজ সার্ভিস সেন্টার যেটা শিমানো ইন্ডিয়াতে, সেটারও মালিক। এছাড়া AIGFA, এটা ওর কাছ থেকে শুনি। So, what are you doing in AIGFA, if I add? With AIGFA, with All India Game Fish Association. You used to be a technical advisor. Have you shifted your position?
No. I'm the vice president. The technical advisor. Yeah. I am I'm a technical advisor for basically Nagaland Anglers Association and Assam Anglers Association. Yeah. So that's a different thing. Yeah.
So that I was mistaken. I had mistaken. So, Derek হচ্ছে নাগাল্যান্ডের যে অ্যাংলিং অ্যাসোসিয়েশন আছে, সেটার জন্য হচ্ছে উনি টেকনিক্যাল সাপোর্টটা দেয়, আর অল ইন্ডিয়া গেম ফিশ অ্যাসোসিয়েশন AIGFA ওটার একজন ডিরেক্টর। এগুলো বিষয়। সো বিষয়গুলো খুবই সুন্দর লাগলো আমার কাছে। এই ধরনের আলোচনা আমি পছন্দ করি। আপনারা কতটা পছন্দ করেন সেটা কমেন্টে জানান। আমি কিন্তু লাইভে কোনো কমেন্ট আজকে পড়লাম না। এই কারণে পড়লাম না, কারণ আপনারা আলাদা প্রশ্ন করলে আমাদের মাইন্ড ডেভিয়েট হয়। আমরা ডেভিয়েটের টপিক থেকে আলাদা হয়ে যাই। সো এই সুযোগটা আপনাদেরকে দিলাম না। আপনারা অনেকেই লিখেছেন, অনেকেই অনেক কিছু কমেন্ট করেছেন। আমি এগুলো না পড়লাম। এখানেই শেষ করছি। সবাই ভালো থাকবেন, সুস্থ থাকবেন। এরকম আন্তর্জাতিক আমার যে বন্ধুগুলো আছে, যারা অ্যাংলার আছে, তাদের সঙ্গে নিয়ে আপনাদের প্রায় আমি এখন থেকে লাইভ করবো। আল্লাহ হাফেজ।